What's up, you data friends? It's Yanis here and welcome to my channel. If you're watching this video, it means that you have an Excel interview test coming up, so congrats for that. Now all you have to do is start preparing for it. So in this video, we are going to go over a practical Excel test example that hopefully is going to help you prepare. And more specifically, we are going to go over question by question, and then I'm going to try and answer the question and also explain the methodology and the thinking behind answering that question. Now, what I suggest you should do is that you should download this file, try the test yourself, which is these questions, and then come back, see what you got right, what you got wrong, and how much time it took you, because this test should be done under 20 minutes. And then you come here, comment in the comments below how much it took you, and then try to compare the answers. And before we start this video, let me just say that if you're passionate about data analytics and data science, then please consider liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and enable notifications for my future videos. Right, the first thing you should do when you get your test is that you should check how much time you have, and then you should try and quickly scan through the raw data you currently have. As you can see over here, we have some car raw data. We have the MSRP, which is basically the manufacturer's retail price. We have the price of the cars, we have the body size, the body style, the horsepower of the cars, and also the highway fuel economy. Now, most tests won't allow you to ask questions, but if they do, it's worth clarifying what kind of data you have. For example, if you have a question about what is this MSRP column, then you should quickly ask them to clarify. Right, I'm going to start with the first question, and the first question says, I'm going to copy and paste it over here at the dot because it's going to think it's a formula. It says, what is the total MSRP and average retail price for all cars? What is the total? Oh, it's pasted twice. Sorry. Let me paste it once. Yep, like this. Dot. Yep, right. To answer this question now, we need to sum the MSRP, and we also have to average the MSRP too. So we're going to say equals sum. It's an aggregation question, which you are definitely going to get. MSRP, close brackets, and then we also need to average the MSRP too. So equals average, and then select the same thing, close brackets, enter. This is a value, so I'm just going to select a currency. You should always select the currency you currently have. So I'm just going to put dollars, and I'm also going to make these $2 because I know they are currencies, just to make the table look a bit nicer. And then I'm going to also add some more space. Right. The second question is, what is the average torque per make? Visualize these two. So I'm just going to copy it, paste it down here, add the dot, paste. So the average torque, where is torque? As you can see, we cannot see torque as a column. So what you need to do now is check the rest of your data set. We're going to skip the completed, so actually hide this because it's completed, and we are going to check the price tab and also the torque tab over here. There we go, we can see that there is torque over here. So the second question is basically asking us to run a VLOOKUP, bring torque in the main data set, and then aggregate torque based on make. And as you can see, we have multiple makes, so we're going to have to aggregate. Basically use a pivot table. That's what the second question is. To answer it now, I'm just going to move this a bit over here. I'm going to copy torque and paste it over here because it's going to be, here. It's going to be our new column that we are going to VLOOKUP. Next, we need to identify our key that we're going to use to join the two together. So if I check torque, I can see that there is an ID key. However, I don't have an ID key in our main dataset. Now it's either two things. They are either testing us to see if we are going to check and create an ID key, or there was a mistake from the company and all they're asking us is to basically copy this and then paste it over here. However, I'm going to create a key column so I can show them I can create key columns. And I'm going to also create a VLOOKUP just to show them that I know how to join data together. So I'm going to do insert over here. I'm going to copy our ID and key column because as you can see, if you check, the models are exactly on the same order as the models over here. So I'm going to paste this here. Now I have an ID key. I'm going to make this light blue. And now I'm going to run my VLOOKUP. So I'm going to say equals VLOOKUP, open brackets. I'm going to search for 1, then I'm going to go over to torque. I'm going to select my range, click F4 so I log it, comma, I want the 1, 2, 3, 4th column, so 4, comma, 1 for an exact match. And there we go, we have the torque. And now I'm going to double click. There we go, we have our torque. I'm going to move this down here. Now, in order to average the torque, I have to basically extract the number from this column. So I'm going to create another column called torque NO, which is the number. I'm going to say equals left, and then I'm going to select these, comma 3, just to select the first 3 characters. Click enter, and now expand. There we go. Now I have to make this into a value because it's still a character. If I try to sum it, for example, look at this, equals sum, this is not going to work. A 0 because this is still a character. So I have to edit my formula over here and say value, close brackets. There we go. And then drag it. There we go. The aggregation works. And now it's asking us what is the average torque per make. Now, to get the average per make, we're going to have to create a pivot table. So I'm just going to select everything, click insert, pivot table over here, existing worksheet. I'm going to select this cell over here, click OK. I want to add the make and I want to have the average torque NO. This is the sum, value field settings, average, OK. There we go. Make this a number and then remove the decimals. There we go. So now we have the average torque per make, as you can see, and now we also need to visualize this. So we're going to go into insert, recommended charts, and I'm going to select, let's say, this chart over here. There we go. I'm going to move this a bit on the right. Now we need to make this look a bit nicer. Always, if you have time during your test, try to make your charts and your delivery look a bit nicer, a bit more professional. Now, if you don't have time, ignore it and try to answer as many questions as possible. I am going to name this as average torque per make. So I'm going to copy the name. There we go. I'm going to paste it over here. Yes, like this. Maybe change the color quickly. Maybe add the data labels. There we go. Remove this total. Yeah, nice. Now it looks a bit nicer. Maybe we can change this color too into maybe this color and then make this one, yeah, like this. Right, so now we have the average torque per make and we have also visualized our data. Right, moving on to the next question. This one, it says, let me paste it maybe down here at the dot. What is the total and average invoice price per body style? Now, if we check our columns, we don't actually have the invoice price column. Invoice price exists in this price data sheet over here. So we're going to have to run another VLOOKUP. So I'm going to copy the title, go back, add it over here. There we go. Give it the same color like this, format painter, and then say equals VLOOKUP. There we go. I want to select my key, comma. I'm going to go over price, select my range, log it with F4, comma, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the invoice price, comma, 1 for an exact match. Click enter. There we go. Double click over here, make these dollars, and then remove the decimals. And now to aggregate this, we can either create another pivot table or we can copy and paste our existing pivot table and then update the range that fits the pivot table. just because it's asking us to aggregate the data based on the body style. And the body style is this one, and you can see we have to aggregate the data. To do this now, I'm just going to show you this other approach because you already know how to create a pivot table. So I'm going to copy the existing one. I'm going to go over pivot table analyze, and then I'm going to change the data source. And now you can see the source finishes up until torque. But now I'm going to select all of our data like this. Click OK. There we go. So now if I check the pivot table, I have invoice price. I'm going to remove this, and I want to add the body style. Remove make. So now we have the sum of invoice price. So that's the total. And we also need the average. So I'm going to add it another time, the invoice price, and I'm going to change this into an average. So now I have the sum of invoice price, and I also have the average of invoice price. The question is also asking us to visualize this too. So I'm going to go over into insert, recommended charts. I can either have this chart or this chart, but let's stick with the first one. Let's try and select maybe a bit nicer one. This one, is it nicer? No, this one. Yeah, let's do this one. Move it down here. I'm going to hide all of this. I'm going to move the legend down below. So by expanding this bottom, there we go, we have more space. I can add a title, and the title is the sum, let's say total and average invoice price per what is it, body style. There we go. What else can we do? We can change the legend names by changing the pivot table. So instead of saying sum of invoice price, we can say total, like this, total. Click enter, and you can see this is total invoice price. And then maybe let's do average invoice price. So average invoice price, and then remove this, click enter. And the last thing we can do to make it look a bit nicer, we are going to add the data labels like this, and maybe let's change their orientation. So I'm going to go over here, text options, I think it's over here, horizontal, and let's do them like this. Oh, I have to do it for these ones too. There we go. So it's a bit clearer now, and it's easier for the business, let's say, to read the numbers. Moving on to the next question. Let me make this a bit smaller. The next question says, let me copy and paste it over here. It says, which model is the best in terms of price per average fuel economy? Now this column, price per average fuel economy, is a column that we have to create ourselves because it does not exist. So I'm going to copy the name quickly. So I'm going to go over here, price per average fuel economy. I'm going to paste it over here at the top so I can create a new column, and then maybe add capital, expand, and then actually let's make this like this. Let's select everything, wrap text, put them in the middle, and then let's make the column smaller like this. So we have to say equals, select the price and divide it by the fuel economy. Actually, this is a text. So first we have to get left 2, so the first 2 decimals of the highway fuel economy, create that column first and then create the deviation. However, I'm going to attempt to do it all in one column. To do this, we have to say left and then open brackets, comma 2. So left, comma 2. So this is going to select the first 2. We also have to wrap this around value because it's still a text. So there we go. This is going to work. And we also need to do something else because we have 3 missing values over here, as you can see. To get around that now, we're going to have to add an if error. And then I'm going to add empty space. There we go. And then expand. There we go. So now we have the price per average fuel economy. And the question is asking which model is the best in terms of price per average fuel economy. So we want the one that has the lowest number because that's technically the best. To do this, we can either say equals mean and get the number, which is actually this number here, and then find the model, or we can conditionally format this very quickly like this to see highest to lowest, and then you can see is this number over here again. So basically the answer is Nissan Ariya as our answer. So I'm just going to copy this Nissan and then also paste Ariya after space. There we go. Now we have the best model in terms of price per average fuel economy. Something else we need to be careful about this question now is that we have multiple models with the same name, but they're actually different because they have different specs. So there is a few ways around this, but since the question says what is the average, maybe we have to use a pivot table to average our data based on model and select that. And then another option is to create a new distinct column where we join these three together and then we select the model with the specific specs. However, I'm just going to also do the pivot table. So I'm just going to copy this over here like this. We need to update the source because we've created new columns. So I'm just going to add the price per average fuel economy in, click OK, come back over here and then remove the body style, add the model, remove this and add the price per average, average this price like this, and also add conditional formatting to show lowest to highest. So conditional formatting. Let's do this. So lower is the best, like this, the green one. And we can see still the same model, Nissan Ariya, but now is the actual average of the two models we have versus the distinct number, which is this number over here for the one model. You have both answers, so you can explain this better to the people who are running the test. So if I come down here, another thing you should do is that you should fix this so it doesn't show like an error divided by 0. So you can right click, do pivot table options for errors values show, and then I'm gonna have maybe empty. Is that gonna work? Yeah, there we go. It's empty. That's much better. And I'm also gonna say this is the best model based on the question. Right, and the last question, it says, create a summary table that has the make, the model, the average price, the average torque, and the average fuel economy. Make this table look nice with conditional formatting. So I'm going to copy this, paste it down here, and whenever you see a question saying to create a summary table that has aggregations, then it's basically saying to you to create a pivot table with all the columns it's asking. So I'm going to copy this, paste it down here. I'm going to remove the average price per average fuel economy. I'm going to add the columns it's asking me. So that's make, model. So I have the model. I'm going to also add the make on top. There we go. We have the make, the model. Average price. So that's going to be the price over here. I'm going to change it to average like this. Then we need the average torque. So do we have the torque? Where's torque? Torque NO. Yeah, we have it. So average torque NO. Change this to average. What else do we need? Down here, and then the average fuel economy. So fuel economy, let me come up. Highway fuel economy. Oh, we don't have this column now, just because when we created this calculation, we've added the column within. So very quickly, I'm going to create that column, which is going to be the highway fuel economy number, NO. Click enter, click equals. I'm going to say value, then I'm going to say left. And then I'm going to select this one, comma 2, close, enter. And this is actually a number. And then remove the decimals and then expand. There we go. We also need an if error because we have values here. So I'm going to say if error, open brackets, close, comma, empty, like this, expand. There we go, it's correct. Now I will have to update my pivot table data source. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to select all of our data like this, enter. That's fine. And now we can add the highway fuel economy number. So come down here. So highway fuel economy. Oh, I need to refresh it. Refresh. There we go. It's over here. What do we need? Is it the average? Average. So I'm going to select it, change it to average like this. The next thing it's asking me is to make the table look nice with conditional formatting. Now this table is not clean. It has the subtotals in and it's not really easy to read. So what I was going to do is that I was going to go over in pivot table analyze, actually in design, I was going to remove the subtotals like this. I was going to show in tabular form, and I was going to actually repeat, so it fills up everything. Yeah, that's very nice. Next thing I was going to do is to change it maybe to like this green over here. We can also change the titling, so it's a bit nicer. So we can say average of highway fuel economy, like this. So it's a bit less text now, so it can take less space. And I think that's all. It looks very nice and clean now. You can copy and paste this into an email or present it to your stakeholders. It's a very nice, clean summary. Right, we've answered all the questions, and I don't know how much time I've been recording, but I assume it's less than 20 minutes. So always, whatever time you have left from your test, spend that time to confirm your numbers, make sure they are correct from the raw data, and also try and make all of your visuals or your deliveries to look as nice as possible. For example, we can add borders around all of these data which we have created like this. We can actually switch these to like these dotted lines because they are nicer, and then select it again, add them. You can also add maybe like a filter over here. So you get the point. Try and spend all of your time to make it look as nice as possible. Right, so this is it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've gained enough value out of this video. If you feel like you did, then I would really appreciate it if you click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and enable notifications for my future videos. In the comments below, let me know how much time it took you to complete this test, and I would also be uploading a few more Excel tests so you can practice even more. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'm going to see you in the next video.